My Giada Waifu Angel Tribal deck taps into Giada's mana ability to quickly summon my favorite waifu angels, and leans into her 1/1 counter ability to transform those waifus into buff waifus who can easily crush even the strongest creatures between their heavenly thighs. All 40 creatures in this deck are angels. By being Angel Purist, I do lose access to those generically good mono-white staples like Esper Sentinel, but conversely, I maximize tribal synergies with cards like Folk Hero. Not only does this mean the deck is more streamlined and easier to pilot late into the night, but it ensures my holy waifu army generates consistent long-term value and remains a divine force on the battlefield in even the grindiest EDH games. Let's begin by going over my generically good angels. I run Youthful Valkyrie, which some players pass over because it's only normally good in the early game. However, thanks to the robust tribal support in this deck, every angel, no matter how small, is able to trigger abilities which provide momentum for that late game train ride to Value Town. Among my generically good 4-drop waifus are Archangel of Ties, who taxes opponents on both attack and defense, Angel of Jubilation, an anthem that not only buffs my other waifus but shuts down sacrifice engines and opponents' fetch lands, and Battle Angels of Tyr, who, while more husbando than waifu, earns a spot thanks to their Myriad ability, typically producing 6/6 angels which draw me cards. Keep in mind that in Giada, 4-mana angels are on curve, because turn 2 you play Giada, and then turn 3 you'll have 4 mana available for the waifu of your choosing. Moving on to the 5-drops, Sigarda's Vanguard is a standout angel, and if I play it on curve after Battle Angels of Tyr, Giada, Battle Angels, and one of the Myriad tokens will be swinging with Double Strike, quickly turning the battlefield into a heavenly beatdown. Enduring Angel, while unable to save my life against Infect or Commander damage, remains in the deck due to Double Strike and granting me hexproof. Herald of War makes 40% of my deck cheaper to cast, and since Giada puts counters on her, on curve she likely provides an immediate reduction of 2 generic mana. Windshaper Planetar can be used defensively, but my favorite play is to use it on the offense, redirecting attackers to sidestep propaganda and goad effects by swinging at one player, then shifting my attackers to the true target. Thanks to all the flyers in the typical EDH game, Radiant Archangel is often the largest creature on the board. Norn's Choirmaster is great for proliferating all of those 1/1 counters across my mini waifus. Sarah's Emissary, I believe, speaks for herself. Akroma, Angel of Wrath, is one of the most powerful creatures ever printed in Magic the Gathering, and in Giada, she frequently comes down as a 10/10 or bigger. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, is also one of the strongest creatures ever printed, and both her and Akroma stand as legendary examples of white creatures. Next, we have primarily life gain oriented angels, like Enduring Angel. Metropolis Reformer gives me hexproof. Player hexproof is very meta dependent, but I find it useful for protecting myself against direct damage effects, as well as the random Pajuka Bog. Righteous Valkyrie is one of the most out of control creatures in this deck. Her life gain ability easily gains me 50 or even 100 life in a single game, which in turn reliably brings her anthem effect online and further transforms all of my waifus into monstrous waifus. Resplendent Angel is a reliable token generator, as I have around a dozen cards which can gain me more than 5 life in a single turn. Gisela, the Broken Blade, is a perfect 4-drop, likely entering the battlefield as at least a 5/4 flyer with lifelink and first strike. Angel of Invention offers both lifelink and an anthem effect, with the option to make tokens via Fabricate. Lyra Dawnbringer is an anthem which also gives all of my angels lifelink, allowing me to easily gain 20 or more life in a single combat. Archangel of Thune quickly gets out of control with cards that generate a lot of life gain triggers, such as Lyra or Seraph Sanctuary. Baneslayer Angel has both First Strike and lifelink, and given all the demons and dragons in EDH, her protection effect is surprisingly relevant. Boonbringer Valkyrie, like Baneslayer, is another solid First Strike lifelinker, and Valkyrie Harbinger is another solid token generator. Saphara, Sky's Blade, has almost as strong of an effect as Avacyn, but also has lifelink and can be much cheaper to cast, thanks to her alternate casting cost. Next up, I have the removal angels. Although white has a lot of solid removal options, I try to use angels for removal as much as possible in order to keep my angel count higher. Aurelia's Vindicator is a decent mid-game tempo card. Typically, I use it to hit people's commanders, as most likely they will choose to put the commanders back into the command zone. It's worth noting that Disguise does not work with Giada's counter ability. Angel of Sanctions is a perfect fit for this deck. Not only does it provide removal, but its Embalm ability offers great value in grindier EDH games, giving me extra card advantage as resources run thin. Giada has often been sacrificed to power out Sunblast Angel, but wiping out a significant portion of my opponent's boards is definitely worth that cost. Angel of the Ruins is exactly the kind of effect I want. In a typical white deck, I'd rely on something like Return to Dust for artifact and enchantment removal, but by swapping it out for a similar effect on an angel, I get the best of both worlds. Powerful removal that is also on theme with my deck. Angel of the Dire Hour may be expensive, but it's incredibly devastating. With Cavern of Souls out, it becomes a near guaranteed one-sided board wipe when timed correctly. Like Aurelia's Vindicator, Angel of Serenity also typically hits my opponent's commanders, as they'll likely return them to the command zone, rather than risk placing them in exile. Now for the card draw angels. Inspiring Overseer is a simple cantrip, while Angelic Sleuth, Wojak Investigator, and Merchant of Truth generate clue tokens, but my favorite is Firebane Commando. It's a solid 4-drop that not only fits the curve, but also encourages my opponents to attack each other, keeping the pressure off me and my beautiful waifus. Lastly, I have the Graveyard Recursion Angels, Sarah Paragon, Angel of Indemnity, Bruna, the Fading Light, and Amaria Shepherd. I think most of these speak for themselves, but it's worth mentioning Amaria Shepherd really works well in mono white due to the sheer number of planes you can run. Cards like Amaria Shepherd are one of the many good examples of how monocolored decks can have advantages over multicolored ones. That's the 39 angels I currently run in the 99. There are a lot of other angels I've ran in the past, which might return, such as Linvala, Thraben Watcher, and Angel of Finality, but for now, I'm sticking to these 39. Next up are the mana rocks. I run only 3, Mox Amber, Solrig, and Throne of Eldraine. I normally avoid high CMC mana rocks because I hate spending my whole turn to tap out and cast a big mana rock just for it to get destroyed before my next turn. The one exception I make is Throne of Eldraine, because it's nearly mana neutral and lets me immediately follow up with a 4-drop angel. It's also a great example of the powerful cards you can run when you stick to a single color. For cost reducers, I'm running Pearl Medallion, Herald's Horn, and Urza's Incubator. Herald's Horn is especially strong here, as the high angel count gives me a 40% chance of drawing an extra waifu on my upkeep. If I also have Path of Ancestry in play, I can scry away the non-angel cards, and those odds will increase to 80%. For other artifacts, I've included Expedition Map, which I run in all of my non-green decks since it effectively replaces the land, and there's always a high-value land I want to get, such as Homeward Path, Cavern of Souls, or Nyktos. I've also got Archaeomancer's Map, which, combined with card draw, lets me ramp just as hard as the green players do. For card draw artifacts, I've got Horn of the Meek and Tome of Legends, both of which are efficient ways to consistently draw extra cards. For equipment, I run Commander's Plate, Sword of the Animist, and Sword of Fire and Ice, and Sword of Forge and Frontier. These are all about protecting my waifus, helping me ramp and develop card advantage, and also make it possible to knock people out of the game using lethal commander damage. Enchantment-wise, I've got Land Tax, Folk Hero, and of course, Smothering Tithe. For protection, I rely on Flawless Maneuver and Flare of Fortitude. I prefer these free-to-cast spells over Teferi's protection, as they allow me to tap out every turn to summon more of my waifus without worrying about holding back mana. Akroma's Will is strong, and casting it usually means the game is about to end in my favor. Swords to Plowshares might be the best single target removal in the game, and if I had more space, I'd include Path to Exile as well. Imperial Storm is easily the weakest of the Commander Storm cycle, but in this deck, it becomes one of the strongest. With Giada out, Even if I've only cast her once, I'm getting a 5/5 angel and a 6/6 angel for just 6 mana. If Giada has been cast more times, and I've got other angels on the field, it's easy to generate 40 or more power and toughness from this single card. Ondu Inversion is currently the only modal double-face card in this deck. If I cast it with Avacyn or Safara out, I am most likely going to win the game. Now onto the lands. Ameria, the Sky Ruin, is easy to get online since I have 20 planes, plus various ramp spells and land tax. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, gets out of control fast in a monocolored deck. Path of Ancestry is great for increasing my card quality and ensuring I can draw more waifus. With 24 valid targets in the deck, Monumental Henge has been a reliable extra card draw. Minas Tirith, War Room, and Bonder's Enclave also give me solid card draw, and since I'm mono white, I can comfortably run the colorless lands without worrying about fixing my mana. Windbrisk Heights is great, as I often can tuck a high CMC angel under it. Three Tree City is basically a Gaia's Cradle that costs 2 to activate. Cavern of Souls is indispensable, ensuring my angels can't be countered. Hall of the Bandit Lord and Ancient Tomb are powerful cards, and in this deck, the life gain and easy color fixing largely mitigate their downsides. I've included Scavenger Grounds to ensure I have at least some graveyard hate, and Homeward Path to bring back any stolen waifus. Seraph Sanctuary offers life gain for each angel that enters under my control, and Opal Palace is fantastic for making Giada larger in those grindier games. Lastly, Myriad Landscape adds a bit more ramp to this deck, and these remaining 20 cards are plains from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I've thought about adding generically good cards, like the One Ring or Teferi's Protection. But EDH isn't about always having the perfect answer or chasing down the latest staple. That's how a deck loses its soul. Sometimes you just have to accept the games are out of your control and let the cyclonic rifts flow through you like rain. Because as long as your deck got to do its thing, you should be able to just sit back and enjoy the beauty of it all. Like, comment, and subscribe for your chance to win a used Waifu Giada body pillow.